you are recreations of the tickets that were given to the people attending Woodstock in August 1969. Woodstock, I realized earlier in this month that you guys didn't really know what that was a giant music festival with an attendance of 500,000 people, and only 100,000 of those people actually bought tickets. The day of, they tore the fences down and 400,000 people just burst in the door without paying. So now that you guys are all invited, we're all part of one big community. And this is the first of a couple things I'm going to talk about with Woodstock. Is there were very strong ideological goals and artistic choices made by this festival because it was very intentionally put together to represent some things at the time. And I'm going to apply these to the way we should treat environmental activism today. So, firstly, communalism was a huge part of Woodstock. 500,000 people all there together, and I will tell you right now, the police gave them glowing reviews. Not a single fight happened. All of them were singing Kumbaya in their little concert. And it really brought everyone together. It was one of the first times where people of this age had seen so many people together for one goal in a place in the mud with one big stage. They were all watching the same thing together. They were all thinking the same things. And that was a really big part of why people actually came, was to feel the closest with one another. And I think this very clearly applies to environmentalism today with a problem that people don't often think about, is there's a reason why we're not getting much done right now. And it's that nobody's really putting their efforts together. Especially in the United States, we realize, a lot of you are STEM majors, that to fund a project, you need one billionaire to give you some money. And you have to work with your small little team to publish one paper. And in theory, all of those scientific papers come together in the end to make some big project. But it doesn't really play out that way. There's environmental organizations that are working together, but they don't have big projects. They're all very atomized and split up. And we would make a ton more progress if our efforts were more put together into making an environmental solution that would focus on the entire planet, not individuals. Secondarily, the way that Woodstock was organized and the way they actually got so many people to show up was aestheticism. And aestheticism is a representation of art over functionality. And Woodstock was marketed in this very peculiar way where they didn't really care about flashy colors or making money. Obviously, they let in 400,000 people for free. But it was all about the art and the music before anything else. Here I have the cover, not the contents, of the record from 1970. This is the original release of it. And you can see by the way this is set up, they very clearly have a lot of muted tones here, a lot of people's faces. This is just people swimming naked in the mud. Then this is a huge picture of what the concert actually looked like from the stage. 500,000 people. All of their marketing really did not portray this functionality aesthetic. It was art overall. And you can hear this in their music. It's all very folksy, and it's coming together to make one particular vibe. And strangely, this applies to environmentalism very well, particularly because I think a lot of our motivations and causes of environmental disaster today are a function of industrialism pushing efficiency overall. It's always, what can we do to make things the most productive? What can we do to make things the fastest? And that costs us a lot of resources and is not sustainable at all. I think we all know this. And if we were to focus more on just what would be the most beautiful thing to make, what would be the most artistically fulfilling, I think a lot of people would slow down, not cut out as much resources to make little tiny changes and efficiencies in our lives. You can actually tangibly see the statistical effect of Woodstock as according to the USA Internal Revenue Statistics Master File. In the 3 years following the holding of Woodstock, as compared to the previous 3 years, this is how much percent each of these sectors grew in addition to the percent that they grew last year. Charities rate went up 39%, social services went up 146%, animal rights organizations 81%, food pantries 344%, criminal justice 120%, and environmental organizations 88%. And lastly, there is a big reason that Woodstock actually started, and that is the Vietnam War that was happening at the time. This is why people actually set this up in the first place. And these are recreations of signs that you found at Woodstock. I sourced Baron Wallman Association, Blank Archives, and I recreated them myself, handmade. And in the messages that people were sending here, and a lot of what's on the back of your tickets, you can see it's all for peace and love. The reason all these 500,000 people were together here in the same place was for pacifism, which represents peace and love. And for environmentalism, I think this represents a lot of what we should be striving for. The reason we want the environment to succeed is so we can all be happy and peaceful around the world, no matter where you come from. Thank you all, and keep the tickets. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This was my second speech. It was supposed to be informative. The first one was an introduction. And context for this one, before I began speaking, I handed out these recreations, these these fake tickets that are just like the ones that they were giving at Woodstock. And each of them had little quotes from Woodstock on them or drawings. You can't read that, it's backwards. And all of them were different. So if you hear me mentioning tickets, that's what it's about. Also, I used a ticket to write my notes on when I was speaking. I thought that was cute. Also, my outfit in this one, very on theme, very good, very cute. Okay, I had a lot of fun making this because one of our goals for this was to use presentational aids, and those are basically just things you bring to show. A lot of people did PowerPoints. I didn't want to do a PowerPoint for this one, even though I messed it up last time and made one that I shouldn't have, because it seemed ironic if I were to do a speech about environmental activism and then say, hey, everybody, look at this screen. The principle. So I did a lot of fun art stuff for this. I like that. This topic was also, I like this a lot because it's very important to me. And, I think not many people put it together. And I love fighting environmental nihilism, etc., etc. The speech itself, my technique, eye contact. I did complain about that a lot the last time. I still hate eye contact, and I'm not sure I really did much this speech, but I was wearing sunglasses indoors, and I kept my head kind of level the whole time, so maybe it seems like to other people I was making eye contact. We'll see when I get the grade. My main problem with this speech, for sure, time constraint. This speech was supposed to be 5 to 6 minutes long. As you can tell, I ended up speaking for 7 minutes, over 7 minutes. And that is because when I was speaking, right, I had these 3 points I wanted to get to: communalism, aestheticism, and pacifism. And I spent a very long time on the introduction, which I didn't plan to. It was supposed to be 2 minutes for each of the three sections, but I spent 2 minutes on the intro, so it really added some time, and then I had to rush the last one for sure. Um, but, that's fine, whatever. I didn't, oh, this is a thing. I didn't really use that many ums and ahs or likes. I don't think I said a single like, I stuttered a couple times. I did. But I was being very intentional. And if the captions are correct and I was paying attention to rewatching, I didn't really use filler words. Good for me. Stay tuned, my persuasive speech might be about why filler words are actually a good thing. We'll get to it. Um, oh, this one. I actually got a compliment from my classmate. It was so sweet. They came up to me and they said, "I really liked your speech. It had a good message." I love that. It's so good. Uh, yeah, overall, um, I really wanted to have a better organization on this. I planned very meticulously step one, two, and three, and why each of them related to environmental activism. It was kind of a stretch because I had to do Woodstock connects to political ideologies, connects to the environment, connects to modern America. It was it feels like something I could write a whole book about. I just think Woodstock represents a period of perfection when you want to think about how we should be treating the world. So I did my best. I'm quite happy with this one compared to the last one, especially. I was much more prepared. I think I made my goal clear of trying to get my message across to people, to get them to actually hear what I was saying. And a lot of that helped with these little tickets. A lot of people were giggling and talking to each other. What did you get? What did you get when I handed them out? And at the end, even they were still asking questions after my speech was over. As you can see, it was $6 for one day, $18 for 3 days. And they were like, "What's that in today's money?" It's $50 for one day and $200 for 3 days. So, yeah, I think they were interested, and I like that. It's fun. They all got super cute messages. Maybe it'll make people think about, hippie stuff. I like this speech. And what am I going to do next time? Next time, I really want to focus on causation. I really want it to be an airtight argument because if I am remembering right, the next one is persuasive. So I want it to be indisputable, okay? I'm gonna use my philosophy skills and set this up. A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C. See you next time.